So the big question is this: how do most agents who struggle to get the information that most successful agents hoard to themselves grow and prosper without this information? That's the big question, and this video cast is the answer. Welcome to Real Estate Rockstars. I'm your host, Pat Hyben. All right, Rockstar Nation, I have a great guest coming out of Canada here. Melanie Bajrovic is on the line. I'm glad I got that pronunciation, the Serbian and Bosnian pronunciation of that beautiful name there. She is the Wealthy Barmaid, and she's written a book on how to go from barmaid to baron, essentially, to an unwealthy barmaid to a wealthy real estate baron. And she has written this book, and we're going to talk today about how you too can become a wealthy barmaid or a wealthy whatever you are, wealthy real estate agent. How about that? And learn from the lessons that she's learned. So anyways, without further ado, Melanie, welcome to Real Estate Rockstars.
Thank you so much for having me, Pat. It's a pleasure.
So, hey, Melanie, why don't you tell everybody about yourself so they can get to know you better?
Sure. So, as the name suggests, the Wealthy Barmaid, I started working in the bar industry at a really young age. I was 12 years old. My parents had a bar restaurant at the time, so I started working in the kitchen and went on to bussing, serving, hostessing, and bartending, and I did that for about 15 years. All the while, though, I saved as much as I possibly could. My parents were really good at teaching me how to save. They come from the former Yugoslavia. There wasn't always an abundance of anything really at times. So I saved as much as I could. And when I was 22 years old, I had enough saved up. And the best decision I ever made was buying my first investment property. That's really what started to build the foundation for me in order to build wealth and starting to create passive streams of income in my life. But at that time, I really had no clue how fruitful this decision would be. I just thought, I'm going to buy a property. I know it's a good investment. I've done research and I chose real estate as my vehicle for investing. And, it's just going to be there for, God forbid, I ever can't work or I get laid off or something happens to me. It just felt like a little bit of security. Or aside from that, I thought maybe when I retire, I can either sell it, live off the proceeds, because my equity is going to go up, loan's going to get paid down over time. And I could either, live off of those proceeds for a while, or maybe I could use the cash flow and supplement my income or my pension. So I had no idea back then how fruitful real estate was going to be for me. It wasn't, some kind of massive long-term plan I had. But over the years, the more and more I see the benefits of real estate, it seems endless. And I'm really, really happy that I started into real estate investing at such a young age, because it's given me more time on my side for that to compound and to grow and to increase my equity. And then when I was about 27 years old, I decided, okay, it's time for me to start my own business. And I ended up creating my first bar restaurant of my own. And I also bought the commercial property from which it operates from today. Another huge, yes, huge decision for me. I was scared out of my mind, let me tell you. Everyone thought I was going to fail, friends and family alike. They were very vocal about it. But I really thought I was just scared out of my mind. I didn't sleep for weeks, maybe even months before that happened. But it was another, I must say, best decision that I've ever made. What it proved to me after, following through with that, because I wanted, right before that deal closed, I thought, let's just get out of this. I put way too much on the line. Everything I owned was on the line. I thought, this could make or break me right here, everything I worked so hard to build. But thank God it's been 5 years running now, super successful. But mainly what it proved to me inside is really the message here that, because of that decision, because I went ahead with that and faced all my fears, it proved to me my own capabilities, my competencies. And now I feel like I'm untouchable. It might be ego or whatever it is, but it proved to me of my own competencies and capabilities. And, it set me up for amazing things now. And from that, I was able to then I wrote this book, The Wealthy Barmaid, which I'm so honored to say became a #1 international bestseller. And from that, people were still reaching out to me, wanting to know, more in detail how to do it. So I created a wealth building course, the Melanie Bajrovic Wealth Academy, and here we are today. It's just been a phenomenal ride of amazing things since I started taking action and since I started investing in real estate. And I want to kind of spread the word of how awesome, real estate is.
Wow, that's incredible. That's a cool story. So let's get some nitty gritty. So okay. So first of all, how old are you now?
I'm 32.
Okay. So you bought your first house at 22. Now you're 32. You've had a decade as an investor. How many have you bought? And what do you own?
So in the portfolio, we've got 5 single family homes and 2 commercial properties at right now. And my next step is I want to go into multi-units, bigger multi-units.
And then, so the bar that you bought, you used to bartend there, and then you went and you bought.
No, I didn't bartend there. This was a brand new location. I scouted it out. I was actually in Serbia at the time looking for properties, and I came across a great one in St. Catharines, Ontario, Canada, and I started it from there. New spot from anywhere I'd worked.
Okay, so you were going to open a restaurant in Serbia.
No, I was just in Serbia at the time.
You were saying you were hanging out in Serbia on vacation, and then okay, I got it. All right, so all right, cool. So what do you spend more of your time doing now? Investing in real estate, or in or managing the restaurant, or what?
That's a great question. I spent at least the first, 3.5 years fully invested in my bar business. That, when you're starting a business from scratch like that, especially the bar industry, it's very time consuming. It is laborious stuff. It requires a lot of your attention. It was like my own baby. It was like having my own child for me.
Oh, it's a time suck. It's like being a real estate agent. I mean, it's probably comparable to being a real estate agent with regards to work fills time allowed. You know what I mean? Like if you give it the time, you could be there 15 hours.
100%.
Let's jump into your book here. You've got 7 steps. Yes. to from barmaid to baron, and I want to talk about this. Let's just run through these if that's okay. What's the first step from barmaid to baron?
So the first step that I think everybody needs to start with in order to get anywhere is they have to have a compelling why. Why are they doing this? Because as we all know, you can't just have a bit of motivation one day. You can't have willpower because that's going to fade. It's going to dissipate. So without having your real compelling why as to why you want to get involved, whether it's real estate or anything else for that matter. I mean, anything that's sucking your time, like you say.
So what was your why, would you say?
Well, for me, it was always I wanted to secure myself financially so badly. I wanted to make sure that I'm going to be fine no matter what. I never want to rely on anyone, on any employer, on any government to make sure that I'm going to be okay. And, as part of the world works today, financial security is, unfortunately or not, it's a huge part of society. So financially, that was it for me. And it's still to this day. And that's what keeps me going, that it never fades. So that's why I'm so driven all the time. I'm extremely ambitious, and I won't quit because I want to make sure that I'm going to be okay. And I make that happen for myself.
I want you to think about the word toolbox. What is a toolbox? A toolbox is a box full of tools that you use to build something great. At Real Estate Rockstars, we've created our own free toolbox. So everybody that comes on the show as a guest brings a tool with them, and we plow them all into this toolbox, and we give it away for our viewing audience to basically use as they wish. Everything we put in there is an actionable item that can be downloaded, can be printed, can be used immediately. And we got things like scripts and dialogues, checklists for teams, checklists to keep agents accountable, referral forms that are filled out at settlement to get referrals by your buyers and sellers. Everything you could think of that you could use on a regular basis about real estate is included in this toolbox. And it's helping agents worldwide sell more houses and make their jobs a lot easier and processes much more efficient. And the thing is, it's absolutely free. All you got to do is go to hibandigital.com/toolbox, or text the word Toolbox to 444-999. That's Toolbox 444-999. Do it now. Yeah, that's awesome. I love that. Okay, so your why was financial security. That was step one. What would you say step two is?
So step two in any venture is you got to get educated. I know we hear this a lot. Everybody says, invest in yourself, and it might even come across now as cliche, but if you don't know all the ways that you can make money, how is it possible that you're going to succeed in that, regardless of what it is? You have to know what opportunities are out there for you. Most people won't be successful because of what they don't know, but then again, it's not just enough to have knowledge, because knowledge without that execution, it's not power. It's not going to make you money. So one of my best lessons for people is to learn even just the key principles you need to get started, but then you have to apply them. And again, a lot of people might say, yeah, I know how to do that. I know how to do that. Or yeah, I saw this guy do that. I know that. But ask yourself, are you really applying them? That's going to make all the difference.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, you really can't invest in real estate till first you invest in yourself, in the education of learning, how to invest in real estate. I think there's a big mistake that's happening a lot now is people are just going out there and buying stuff and they have no idea how to invest, and they're kind of fitting square pegs and round holes, and they're going to get burned. I mean, it's going to take them much longer to get wealthier being an uneducated investor, for sure.
Absolutely.
Much longer.
And they might lose their shirt in the process of
indeed. Not to mention that, right?
People like us, people like you who are trying, to teach as much as we can, giving away even as much free information as possible, even just like your podcast is, why do something when there's a huge risk without just learning a few key lessons, at least a few key principles? You can't just jump in, roll in. You didn't do the numbers right, and bam, you lose everything, and now you're discouraged probably forever. So
yeah. All right. So step three, what do you got?
All right. Step three, something that I've done since, again, I was 12 years old. Work your butt off. You got to earn, obviously, in whatever endeavor you're doing, or else what's the point? Taking action. All change and all progress, all success comes from taking action. And just my best message is to condition it, to do something every single day, even if it's little, that gets you one step closer to achieving your goals. Again, even if it's minute, if it's little, because that progress, as Tony Robbins would say, progress equals happiness. So on top of financial security, on top of all that health and everything else, you have to progress in order to feel like, things are moving and shaking in your life. And that gives you a sense of fulfillment. So you can't get anywhere or accomplish anything without taking action towards something you want. And that's a big component. A lot of people will buy programs, buy courses, go to seminars, do all these things. They're like, yeah, or even read a book. Yeah, great. I understand it. But if you're not taking any action towards any of that, it was all a waste of time. It was all useless, right? It's not getting you any closer to where you're really trying to be.
Yeah. Jim Rohn says affirmation without discipline is the beginning of delusion, right? So you can affirm that, you have this why, you can affirm you set these goals, you can get educated, but unless you have discipline of doing something on a regular basis, you're delusional that you're going to get rich. And I think that in real estate investing, I tell people all the time, I said, what you should be doing is you analyze deals, right? You should be looking at, if you don't know how to buy houses, go through the MLS, go through Zillow, go through whatever, and scour deals and run the numbers on them. See, would I buy this? Does this cash flow? Does this make financial sense? Even if you're never going to buy it, analyze 5 a day, until you're so good that you can analyze them with a blink and then pull the trigger.
That's right. And then when you're ready to go, you're going to feel a lot more confident too, whether that's a good deal or not.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, cool. So we got why, find your why. We got education. We got work your butt off. What's number 4?
Number 4, really important one here to get past anything, is you have to face your fears. I talked a little bit about that earlier with a couple of the decisions I made, buying my first investment property at 22 and my commercial property and my bar at 27. Without taking that leap, like, you're staring at the face of danger, right? You're looking at risk. You're looking at all these kinds of things you could lose. Fear is a natural thing. Our brains are wired to keep us in survival mode. Just, we don't like anything that might bring us pain. So of course, fear comes in naturally. but it's holding us back. I mean, as long as you're smart and taking calculated risks, I'm not talking about, idiotic risk. You got to burst through those fears to get to where you want. Most people, this is what holds them back. They're sabotaging themselves. And I hate seeing it. It breaks my heart to see it because people want so much more in their lives and they talk about it all the time. But that fear kicks in and bam, they drop everything and they don't take any action. So, I strongly suggest to pinpoint what's holding them back so that you can get past it. That literally starts with, and most people won't do this, take the time to sit down and actually write it out. When you see it on paper or say it out loud, that's the first step, because now you made it real. You looked at it and you're like, okay, that's the thing that's holding me back. And you can actually start to depict it, chisel away at it. You know what I mean? Like, it's, in order to get to the other, there's a great quote, I just forget right now who says it, but everything you want lies on the other side of fear. So it's really just about taking that like bridge or that jump or that leap, whatever we want to call it in this metaphor, and that's where everything you want lies. But you have to face that fear. And the best part is once you actually do and you prove to yourself that you did it, and it's like, screw what anybody else thinks, whether it was your colleagues or whoever thought you couldn't do it. But when you prove that to yourself, I swear to you, because I'm living proof of it, you feel like you could do anything after that point. So that's just a huge one on the success to journeys, bursting right through those fears.
I love that. I love that. Everything is on the other side of that. And I really do believe, and I've always told my kids, face your fears and they will disappear. So yeah, you have to be conscious of that, right? You have to be conscious of what you're afraid of and just move forward in spite of it. Awesome. Okay. What do you got for 5?
All right. Number 5 is invest wisely. This should be a part of everybody's, portfolio, whether they are, investing in the stock market or in, Bitcoins or real estate. My favorite strategy. My favorite strategy, again, is real estate. That was the vehicle I chose, long-term buy and holds, particularly because, again, my idea was always securing myself and building wealth. I was never, into flipping necessarily and all these other strategies. And there are how many strategies do we have in real estate? I think that list is endless in itself.
I meet a lot of investors, and I rarely meet some that regret selling their single-family homes. I know I've had a bunch that I've sold and I've, made money on them and put the money in other things and made money on those other things or lost money on other things. And I think sometimes it's hard to, so much of it goes on, it's hard to track, did this money turn out good? Would I have been better off holding everything? But I think at the end of the day, yes, you're always going to be better off. It might not be as exciting, but I think you'll always be better off if you just hold your single family rentals forever. I don't think there's any harm in that. Like I said, not as exciting, but definitely a way to build wealth is just stack them, and, have the mentality that you want to have as many horizontal lines as I talk about coming to pay you, rather than having to work vertically for your money. As most of the world does. We talk about, how to invest, what to invest in. So many areas now are bubble-esque. I think that, and a wise investments, as we talked about many times on this show, is, if you use the 1% rule and you simply just, so long as your rent is about 1% of the total cost of the house. So the house is $200,000. The rent should be $2,000 a month. Simple as that. That 200 includes any repairs that you will have had to invest in on it. And a lot of guys we've had on the show say it needs to be 1.5% to 2%. So the higher that percentage, the better. Minimum 1%. And I think you'll be set. And the key is to buy, right? Pull the trigger and just hold, right? Just have the stamina, and not to sell it. If you can make money, if you want to start investing in other things, then put, money that you've saved into other things and keep your single family homes as well. But you got a lot of different opinions on that. And certainly I've done both. I've kept single families, but I've sold a bunch of single families and put them into multifamilies and put them into shopping centers and things like that. And I think that old monopoly strategy, there's nothing wrong with that. So long as you don't, put all your eggs in one basket or one shopping center and not hold on to maybe some of your single families just in case.
Agreed. I strongly agree with that. Diversify the portfolio within your real estate investments as well. Did you find that was a great option for, maybe consolidating your single family homes into multi-units? Is that a great strategy for you?
I want you to think about the word toolbox. What is a toolbox? A toolbox is a box full of tools that you use to build something great. At Real Estate Rockstars, we've created our own free toolbox. So everybody that comes on the show as a guest brings a tool with them, and we plow them all into this toolbox, and we give it away for our viewing audience to basically use as they wish. Everything we put in there is an actionable item that can be downloaded, can be printed, can be used immediately. And we got things like scripts and dialogues, checklists for teams, checklists to keep agents accountable, referral forms that are filled out at settlement to get referrals by your buyers and sellers. Everything you could think of that you could use on a regular basis about real estate is included in this toolbox. And it's helping agents worldwide sell more houses and make their jobs a lot easier and processes much more efficient. And the thing is, it's absolutely free. All you got to do is go to hibandigital.com/toolbox or text the word toolbox to 444-999. That's toolbox 444-999. Do it now. I mean, yes and no. I tell my wife, we really won't know whether the decisions I've made were smart or not until we're about 90 years old and we're sitting on the front porch of a mobile home somewhere looking back and some kid asks you what worked and what didn't. You know what I mean? Because, so like I saw, I did really great on one house. I took the money, I put it in a shopping center. That shopping center did great for 5 years. Now it's got 3 vacancies out of 8 units. So it's sucking wind. So was that a good idea? Well, looking at it today, no, I should have just kept the house. I would have regular profit on it for sure. 30 years from now, looking back on it, I have no idea. You know what I mean? Markets change. I mean, it could fill up next week. It could stay vacant another 5 years. Who knows? But, it's hard to say. It's case by case. Some you win, some you lose. That's capitalism, right? So I think the key is, like you said, is to diversify. I've certainly had multifamily apartment buildings that I've lost my ass on, but I've had other multifamily apartment buildings that I've done real well on, and I still buy multifamilies. I'm buying one now as we speak. I was just looking at the paperwork today, but I'm buying fewer. But I'm also buying fewer single families. I'm not buying any. I don't think I bought a single family home in 3 years. So everybody's different, and everybody has different opinions. But as long as you meet the cash flow rules, I think you're okay. That's the right. Key. Don't just go out and buy just to buy, and you're only getting a 0.5%. Back on them.
The deal has
ratio.
Yeah. And your numbers have to be as accurate as possible, and you have to know what you're going to come out with at the end, or else, don't just buy blindly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right, cool. So what's number 6?
Well, number 6, hugely important for lasting power. You got to persevere no matter what. Never give up. Just like you, those is actually great examples. I mean, you've lost some, you've won some, but you're still going. That didn't make you want to quit. I've had so many people, even in family or in the circles that I know around in Niagara particularly, they had one horrible tenant experience. I mean, how many people do we know like this? horrible tenant experience, couldn't get them out, or they destroyed the place or whatever, and they just completely get out of the game. It's like, yep, this stuff isn't for me, no thank you. And they just completely lost that source of supplemental income, building that equity on the side, that extra cash flow source, because of one experience. I had it too. I literally had con artists in my place. It was just a disaster getting them out, and going through the court system, the legal system was a disaster. I lost a lot of money, and I really was scared. I'm not going to lie to you. At the end of that, I really felt that bad.
So tell me that story so we can learn from it.
Sure. Okay. So I screened them, but not well enough. I just did I only looked at their employers, called, made sure they had jobs, which they did. They showed me letters of employment, called their previous landlord. Actually, I couldn't get a hold of their previous landlord. So I let them move into the house. They gave me the first and last month rent, post-dated checks, and I wasn't checking my bank account for a couple months. And for some reason, when I opened up the bank account and it was in the minus, I thought, what the heck? And then I realized, okay, these checks didn't clear. So I wasn't vigilant. I should have went in there. I should have went, after 2 days, made sure I didn't call the utilities companies as I should have. So they weren't obviously paying any of the utilities. And once I realized, then it was just story after another of, oh, this, and my bank got compromised, or, $10,000 was stolen from my account, all these different stories. And I just still wasn't getting paid. Month 3, month 4, 5. And then I thought, okay, something's really wrong here. So then, I was sitting with one of my friends. He's like, did you even Google these people? And I'm like, no, it didn't even occur to me to just, open up Google and Google. We find all these newspaper articles. Literally, they're fugitives from, in Toronto, they were, renting out the house to like 5, 6 different people, collecting first and last, and then, getting out of town. It wasn't even their condo. There were fugitives in Niagara still being looked for by the police, all this stuff. So my world just came crashing down, thinking, what have I done? And I finally, after, 2 or 3 court hearings, and she was pregnant at the time, that gave her a bit more leniency with the judge, and it finally got them out. But that cost me a lot of money, all because I think I didn't screen them well enough. I wasn't vigilant enough. I was doing it myself, and I've had some really great tenants in the past. So I thought, I trust people. They talk to you, and they're great talkers. And, I knew they were working, so they must have money. Huge lesson there.
Yeah. George Bush used to always say, trust, but verify.
Exactly.
And I've had the same thing happen to me several times, man. You have to, I have no problem screening the hell out of people nowadays. I mean, there's so many things you can do to find people and search people, and criminal records, background checks, credit reports. You got to do all that stuff, right?
That's right. No matter what they're telling you.
Before they move in, no matter how fast they want to move in a vacant house, no matter how much they want to put up.
Exactly how much cash they want to give you up front.
Exactly. Because that's one of their ploys. I had this vacant property in like a bad area, and they came with 2 months cash, and they said, we need to move in tomorrow, with this big long story. Didn't have time to run anything, just like you. And then that was the last money I saw them for about 11 months. I mean, literally, that's how long it took me. And it's like, okay, well, I got paid 2 months for a year worth of the house. It's just crazy. That hurts. Yeah. All right. What's the 7th step here, Melanie?
My 7th step is, once you've completed 1 through 6, put everything above on repeat and just keep going. Never stop learning. Never stop reminding yourself what your why is. Don't stop working, and just investing in whatever it is that you're doing, learning more, earning more, facing your fears, because always new ones are going to pop up every time you're going to step out of your comfort zone, because you're essentially growing. That's going to keep happening. So you got to, burst through them again, but it'll get easier and easier. I find, at least in my own experience, it gets easier. And keep investing no matter what. And, persevere. Just like in instances like these, you get burned or you made a mistake or something, do not give up. Like, there's no such thing as failure again, unless you give up. When you throw in the towel, okay, fine. We can say then you're done. But if you never give up, you're never going to, it's not failure no matter what. And if you keep doing that, I mean, that's how you build wealth. That's how you become successful in all these areas of your life.
Yeah, well said. So we got the why, find the why. We got get educated, work your butt off, face your fear. We got invest wisely, persevere and repeat the 7 steps from barmaid to baron. I love this. I'm going to put all of Melanie's information on hybendigital.com/barmaid. That's hybendigital.com/barmaid. And I will also put links to her book. If you guys want to buy it, I will put links to all of her websites. In the show notes, I'll put information on everything we've talked about. And Melanie, as you know, everybody that comes on the show leaves something behind that we put in a toolbox that agents can kind of grab and download or hang up or use on a regular basis to help them get wealthy and sell more homes. So what is your free gift that you're going to leave us with today?
So we've got a couple things for you guys. I left for you, you can download a free chapter of my book to get you started on that. And I also have an audio. It's a really cool audio. I spent a lot of time with that. It kind of dives into a lot of these topics we've discussed today, and then some, the 7 essential principles for building wealth and living financially free. I've left those links with you, Pat, or they're easily found on melaniebajrovic.com as well.
Beautiful. So I will put those links in her show notes, guys, and then I'll go ahead and download the free chapter for you and put that in the PDF in the toolbox as well. Melanie, thanks. I wish you the best of luck in all your future endeavors, and maybe if I'm ever in your part of Ontario, I will look you up. We'll get together and have a drink at the bar.
I would love that. Thank you again so much for having me. It was such a pleasure, Pat.
Thank you for watching Real Estate Rockstars. Please give us a review wherever you're watching or wherever you're listening. We eat feedback for breakfast, and I don't care whether you give me a 1-star review or a 5-star review. I just want the review. I want to know what we're doing right and what we're doing wrong. Would love to improve things. Hey, and listen, please subscribe. The more subscribers we get and the more reviews we get, the better guests we'll get for you in the future. Feel free to reach out to me anywhere on social media. Just type in my name. I'm everywhere, and I look forward to meeting you in the digital world. Have a great day, and thanks again for listening to Real Estate Rockstars.